Welcome to Sign for the Times. The Society for the Involvement of Good Neighbors, commonly known as SIGN, is a not-for-profit agency in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, Canada, that provides 24 social and community programs and services. Our podcasts explore those programs and include conversations with people who have used the services of SIGN. My name is Dick DeRuyck. In our last podcast, we started our discussion about homelessness and housing needs in Yorkton. We continue that with this podcast. We talked to two individuals and a couple who have been there through no fault of their own. We talked to a now retired gentleman. We talked to a mother who had to leave an abusive relationship and needed a place to call home for her and her children. And we talked to a working couple who are, again, in a place that they find comfortable so they could continue their lives in Yorkton and continue with the jobs that they have. For Robert Deck, coming from Winnipeg to Yorkton 13 years ago, seemed like a good move. His wife's family was here and he could work as an independent contractor for Canada Post. But things didn't turn out as he had hoped. His marriage broke up, which was very hard on him, and that led to deterioration of his health to the point where he couldn't work anymore. Robert, who is 71, is in a better situation now. But it took time and it took help from others to get there.
I went, when I quit work, I knew I still had money put away for a while. And after that, it's like, now what do I do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I decided I got to do something and do it quick. So I was getting, for a while, I was getting a Canada pension. I ended up getting an old age pension. So that totaled up to be XX number of dollars, and that wasn't very much. And then they got a hold of me and said, you're not making very much and you don't have enough money to live on here. So they increased it, and it certainly helped me. So I'm not doing too bad right now. Yeah. I'm doing good.
Way back when you didn't have the money, couldn't pay your rent, you ended up on the street.
Well, what happened there was
you had to find some help from somebody, right?
Right. What happened there was I stalled a lot. She was a very nice landlady, and she didn't want to see me leave, but she has to answer to other people too. She kept stalling. I kept stalling. And she went around and said, Rob, the time has come that you're going to have to leave pretty soon. So anyways, what happened was I was supposed to move into the people downstairs. We had it all planned that I would move in with them downstairs. I would pay half of everything and they would pay half. Well, unfortunately, they weren't paying half of their money. They were busy gambling it all away. I phoned Jen up and asked if she was in, and they got a hold of her.
And then she called Melinda. Is that how it went?
That's how it worked. Yeah, she called Melinda up. Yeah.
Social services have suggested that you move to Regina.
Well, that was I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
Sir, the only best thing we can do is give you an $80 bus ticket and you go to Regina. Well, what's out in Regina?
Yeah.
Well, we've got places out there where you can shelter out there, and I found out that they charge you for shelter out there. Well, where's I going to get the money to do all this? So no, I turned it down. Gladly turned it down. I thought I'll find it's going to be something around here.
You're renting now from Ed Howe. We talked to Ed a couple of weeks ago, and he's your landlord now. And it sounds to me from the people I've talked to that Ed and his wife they go out of their way to make their tenants, make people that live in their places, make them feel at home.
Oh, I twice has happened now where there's a knock on my door and her phone call to come on over and The last incident was at Thanksgiving when they made me a beautiful, beautiful supper. And, they're both wonderful people to.
I understand you also have a friend who provides you with some transportation around town when you need it.
Wonderful Jeff, beautiful man. Yeah, he's fantastic. And if I don't get to see him, I get kind of homesick because he's just a very, very good friend of mine. And he came from also the United Church. I guess Jen asked one day if somebody could drive this person around to get groceries and stuff like that. So Jeff agreed to, and today we've been friends. And yeah, he's really nice that way. And I'm afraid that I don't know what to do if it wasn't for these Yorkton people, because I don't know where I would end up. I really don't.
It sounds like the Yorkton people have treated you well.
They treated me absolutely 100% compared to where I lived before. And I just couldn't get over it. Just coming from Winnipeg, coming to here, just totally, totally different.
Yeah. You also have a friend in Winnipeg, I think.
Wonderful.
He phones you every day.
He phones me usually around 5:00 every day. He's another one that a very, very nice fella. Yeah, he texts on me every day, and he's fantastic. That's for sure. And if he can't get a hold of me, he tries somehow. But, right after work, he goes home. On his way home, he gives me a call. Yeah.
What advice would you have for other people? I mean, there are people that find themselves in this kind of situation like you've been in.
Well, first of all, I would try and work your marriage out. Please, you people out there, just do something to save your marriage. Because I'll tell you, I'm not lying to you, it's not good being lonely. They got different programs out here. That's I noticed, and I was told, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now, if I have a problem, and I feel secure now, where I know that hopefully, and you'll never get put out on the street again. And if you are, you can get help somewhere. I got my little home, and I'll tell you right now, it makes a difference where you're living someplace where you want to live. Well, I'm not doing too bad right now. Yeah. I'm doing good.
Robert has another source of support.
I pray night and day, and that sure helps me a lot. And I keep on praying too. So don't you people out there just take some time out there and pray to the Lord, and believe me, He'll answer your prayer.
Sometimes circumstances change quickly in personal relationships and domestic arrangements, which means that housing has to be found quickly. That was the case for our next guest. She's a mother of 2 children who immigrated to join her husband, who was already in Canada and in Yorkton. But she soon found herself in an abusive relationship. Because of that situation, we will not identify her or provide any details about her current location, and we have disguised her voice. But her story is very real. How did you find out about Sign Housing Support?
I learned about Sign Housing Support while seeing the nurse practitioner, Wanda, and my counselor, David, at the time. They told me about the Sign Housing Program. It was very difficult to kind of arrange to speak to them because they were still living at home. And Melinda was very helpful, and she understood the situation I was going through at the time. So she came to visit me and called occasionally, very often actually, to make sure I was doing okay.
Melinda was able to find a suitable place for you and your children then?
Yeah, Melinda didn't give up at all, and Sign is actually a godsend. And she was very resilient. She came up with a lot of choices to see where I was comfortable. And it didn't take a long time to find a place. It took about a month. I was actually surprised how quickly it went. And where we are now was just the best one. And it's a great, peaceful place, which is so happy and happy.
And it sounds like you now have a place where you feel safe.
Yes, I do. I do feel very safe. And it's very peaceful where I am. So now I'm able to get back into remote learning, where I'm actually studying to become a victim service coordinator, where I could assist someone in the future, just as Sign did for me, and they motivated me a lot. It was a very scary experience, not knowing anybody here, not knowing who to contact or how to find a place to live. I would not have been able to do that or accomplish the stuff that I have if it was not for Sign. Sign kind of became my family, well, is my family, and right now, they don't stop helping, they don't give up, they provide help in many different areas, including counseling, housing, healthcare. I didn't even know they were able to do all of that.
I'm speaking with Warren and Sandra Chevery, an older middle-aged couple who have lived in Yorkton for the past 12 years. Sandra manages and Warren volunteers at Serendipity Thrift Shop on Broadway West in Yorkton, which is owned by Yorkton Victory Church. They often help others, personally and through the thrift shop. But like many of us, they are also often reluctant to ask for help when they need it. In October of 2019, however, they contacted Sign Housing Support. They needed a hand. Tell us how you arrived at that point back in October of last year.
Well, we were renting an apartment here in Yorkton, and the maintenance people weren't doing very well with the looking after things, and we had a terrible time with. We had a big bout with bed bugs. We lost all our furniture, our beds, and everything. And prior to that, that winter we had when it was very cold out, we had lost our boilers for 2 weeks.
Oh.
During that time, our budgie that we used to keep in a cage by the window, he froze to death. And it was just terrible. They wouldn't look after things. Everybody was freezing, and then the bed bugs hit, and we just fought those for months and months and months. Lost all our furniture, clothing, some of our articles of clothing. We were living in the garbage bags, and I kept asking them to repair stuff, fix stuff. They weren't doing anything, so I stopped paying rent. And then after 2 months, I told them, I said, okay, you're not doing anything, so I want you to wipe off that 2 months because we got nothing done. We lost all our furniture and our ability to live comfortably. And they took us to the rentalsman. The rentalsman said, well, your rent has to be paid. You can take them. You have grounds to take your landlord back to that rentals place and have them, look after that bill. But we had to pay the rent, and we made arrangements that day with the rentalsman and the owners or the management company to look after that. They were going to allow us to get caught up on it. And then after we get off the phone, that was on a Tuesday. On Thursday, they told me they wanted a full month's rent by Monday. And then on Saturday, they got a hold of me and told me that they wanted all the money by Tuesday. So we just basically got out there, went and grabbed our tent and lived in a tent.
So this is the summer of 2019.
Yeah.
And you found yourself basically with a tent and no place to live.
That's right. And it wasn't so bad, Dick. It was, I wouldn't recommend it for people at our age, but, and especially with my health issues, but we survived it. We got through. We didn't complain. We managed to eat every day, and we were dry. But living indoors is a lot better than living in a tent.
Well, and especially when it gets to be fall and winter around the corner.
Yeah, it was starting to get cold coming on the end of it.
Yeah, imagine the mornings were probably a little chilly by that time.
Yes, they were.
Well, yeah, that's not hard to imagine in Saskatchewan in October. But you did know about you were familiar with Melinda and with some of the sign programs.
We were, because we would access those programs for other people. It just never dawned on us to access it for ourselves. We just didn't think that way. So I was aware of them, and it just seemed weird that we never thought about asking for help for ourselves.
Yeah.
Until one day at Greg and Ottenbright's office, when they asked me the question, like, where we were living. And then it dawned on me, kind of like a revelation. Someone flipped the light switch.
You had been helping other people. I mean, so you and sign obviously was something that you were familiar with. We
knew about it. It just happened that the day we were in Greg Ottenbright's office, and what's her name? Rachel mentioned when she asked the question, and Pastor Kevin Swalski was there as well. And when they heard about that we were homeless, after they were done giving me a blast for not asking for help, because they were quite appalled that, we've helped so many people that we shouldn't be getting help. And then when they mentioned Melinda's office, I was like, oh yeah, that's right too. Because at that particular time we weren't in a very good spot financially, as some may know. It sometimes costs more money to live outdoors than it does to live indoors.
Yeah. So you called Melinda, I'm assuming.
Yes, we got a hold of Melinda. Awesome the way, like at that time, how the people stepped up to offer us assistance and, places to live. And Yorkton, I find if you can get yourself to ask, I found Yorkton to be a place where people will step up to the plate.
She found she has contact, obviously, with various landlords.
She seems to be very well connected in the community, and knowing her from other ventures that we've worked on with the community center and so on, she seems to have a tremendous amount of resources, and she's there for people in the community. And she had brought in a fellow, Doug Schick.
Oh, yeah.
And he was very helpful. He had an apartment where someone had pulled off a midnight move, and he didn't have the time to clean it. So he said if we wanted to move in, then clean it, and it would be ours. And he was very gracious and gave us the rest of that month of free rent. And we've been paying rent for it ever since.
You're still in the same place?
Still in the same place. A year, just over a year now. And I met with the owners the other day. They took over as new managers, and they made the statement that for a guy that pays his rent early all the time, we don't want to lose you. So what can we do to help?
So I mentioned at the start that you're no stranger to helping other people, both through your personally and through the thrift store where Sandra manages. You work, you volunteer.
Yeah,
it's one of the things that you do and have been doing.
Yes, and in our life history, like we've been married 33 years. And this is the first year in 33 years of marriage that we've actually been just Sandra and I. We've used to always have not just our kids, but we've also had people living with us that needed help. And over the years, we've had as many as 4 extra people in the house.
Yeah. You came from Edmonton, about a dozen years ago or so?
Yeah.
What brought you to Yorkton?
Well, Dick, we were living in Edmonton in a place. I was driving truck, and our young fellow was going to school. The school was only about a block from our apartment. And on a Friday night, 2 12-year-old boys got in a knife fight and killed each other.
Oh. And
12 years old, And I said to Sandra, and we had lived in Yorkton back in the mid-'90s, early 90s. And I said, you know what? We're moving somewhere safe. And at that time, Yorkton was about the safest place we could think of. So I made some phone calls here. We had jobs lined up. We had a place to live lined up. And ironically, both of the jobs I had lined up fell through. They had hired the drivers before I got here, and even though I did confirm that I was coming. And then the job that Sandra had lined up, the company decided they wouldn't hire till later on in the fall. And the place that we had lined up to live in, the people wouldn't move out of. So there again, out comes our faithful old tent, and we lived out at Cherrydale Golf Course for 2 months out there before we found a place.
Yeah.
That was during the time here in Yorkton when they were building the plants there.
Yeah.
And you couldn't even get a hotel room.
Yeah, that's when the canola plants were under construction.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was just nothing available. I suppose we could have went back to Edmonton, but you know what? We have our tent. That's it.
And it came in handy again.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sort of like my on my mother's side of the family were treaty. So I'm sort of like them. If we don't have a house, we got a teepee.
Yeah, exactly. What motivates you to help? It sounds like it comes naturally to you, but what's the motivation?
It's just how we are, the way we were raised. My mother used to tease me. My nickname when I was growing up was the Pied Piper. I was always bringing strays home, whether it was a dog or a cat or people. You know, my mom says, when I open your bedroom door in the morning, I don't know what I'm going to find, or how many's in there. But my mom and dad were always like that too. They were always helping people, right?
Yeah.
And even back through the history of my family, our family is known to be that kind of a family that we just help people, help those in need. And when it goes way back, you can go back a long way, and that just seems to be the way it is, right? Yeah. Just when someone has a need, we can do something about it.
And I'm assuming that some of the clients who come to the thrift store are there because they need some help as well.
Yes, we actually, and I encourage people too, anybody that's listening to ask for help. I know there was a lady came in here a while ago, and I just knew something wasn't right, and I asked her what things were. I talked with her a little bit and what things was happening, and she told me she had just left an abusive relationship, just walked out the door with her kids, nothing else. Yeah. She didn't even have a pot to cook something for her kids to eat. So we just told her, like, you take what you need, get what you need, and that's what we're here for.
Well, that's a great way to end these podcasts that we've been doing on homelessness and housing support in Yorkton. If you need help, don't hesitate to ask for it, as Warren and Sandra will tell you. Yeah. And I think they'll also tell you that when you receive help, consider paying it forward and help others wherever you can.
Pay it forward, yeah.
Life can be turned around, can't it?
Yes, it can.